Another draft physics video presentation brought to you by frustration. Continuing. Seems to be that the universe contains an infinite amount of it. Anyway, Copa, I guess it is, I don't know, won't affect this channel. I thought at first that was that stupid shit where you have to type in how many fire hydrants are in this picture, kind of, fuck. So the whole internet is the shyster net. They made that clear. They just gave it all away. So we had all these stupid dot net, dot this, dot that. That was supposed to be, some segregation of evil from honorable and decent. They threw that in the garbage. Meta tags, rational way to, identify what your objectives are, what you're about. No, give that to the liars and the shysters. And then they show up with some dopey idea that they're going to protect kids with this kind of nonsense. It's just, the whole thing is run by liars to protect liars. I mean, it's just an amazingly dim and silly civilization we've created. We've allowed to exist because all you people are dupes. Clearly, you'll fall for any kind of nonsense. You'll defend nonsense. You'll just talk nonsense. So live free or die, takes this silly slogan first. I mean, what is freedom again? Free to be what? There's no such thing as a free thing. There's just freedom from. There's just something you're not being. And again, what do people need freedom for, generally speaking, is to be an asshole. They want the freedom to be a lying piece of scum. They don't want the freedom to be better, something good. No. It's just, nope, didn't occur to them. Anyway, appreciate you replying to my direct comment. I didn't mean to be rude when saying, well, it doesn't matter what you're meant to be, really. But I don't know how it comes up any other way. You probably have the free time. Why did you throw it in then? I'd be curious to know what kind of psychological thought process or what kind of thought process you went through before typing that rubbish. But anyway, fine. And I said he was one of the greatest physicists in an off chance you didn't know him, and to incentivize, see, that's what they call propaganda now, incentives, you to read his work. So you lied. You just basically just said, okay, I'm going to lie. I'm going to way over exaggerate. I'm going to do all this crap to manipulate. Because you can't do anything in a straight up rational decent manner, and yet you'll steal some dead guy's head. Okay, whoever the fuck it is, Aristotle or something, I don't know, Plato, whoever, you just steal his identity. Free to steal somebody else's identity, especially if he's dead, because he can't complain. Sorry, you just don't inspire any enthusiasm by starting off with this apology for being, oh yeah, I'm just a typical shit for brain. Anyways, off OFC, he was flawed. His mathematics was flawed, and his fundamental premises were stupid. Okay. And I didn't put his theory on a pedestal. Well, I don't even know if there's a his theory. He's a defender of every wacky element invented regarding any physical phenomenon. So, yeah, fine, whatever. You didn't put it on a pedestal? The hell you didn't. Shit. Let's read the rest of this crap, right? Because he's going to try to put it back on the pedestal. I do agree with you that quantum mechanics went off on a tangent. All of it's a tangent. The entire, by Dirac's own words, the entire thing exists, okay, to in some way defeat determinism and, a mechanical universe. The entire thing exists for that sole purpose. Concepts like superposition, again, a word stolen, a reasonable word perverted into this. It already had a physics definition, superposition. Superposition meant things were in their own place and did their own thing, and that there was no um, uh, uh, interaction in the thing in their things itself, except for the fact that they had to, their forces or their smell had to actually get to somebody else's nose before the smells interacted. The smells didn't turn into some new smell. Okay, you had to smell each thing individually. So it already had a meaning, and then they turned it into this nonsense word. And so you already have a physics word that means something, and then they use the same exact fucking word to say something entirely different. You don't think that's a problem? Yeah, it's a big frickin' problem. If you're going to be understood, you can't use the same frickin' word for two entirely different things. Like you idiots use the word, you throw that stupid wave word all over the fucking place. Sorry, starting off badly. Try to endeavor to persevere. I'll endeavor to persevere. And entanglement, okay, superposition and entanglement were wildly misinterpreted. So the physicists couldn't even understand it. Oh, okay. In your opinion, okay, yeah. I think that's what that means. IMO. In my opinion, yes, that's what that means. Okay. So a big joke again. So the physicists aren't smart enough to figure out what the physicists are saying. Fuck. I mean, it's pretty clear what Dirac is saying, okay? I mean, he's basically saying we're not what we are, okay? I'm walking down the street, I'm wearing my jacket, I'm doing my stuff, and he's basically saying, no, you're not. You're wearing everyone's clothes, or no one's clothes. Until somebody sees you wearing it. Fuck that. Alright. Statistics is nothing but that. Statistics. So again, just more crap. We're talking about what statistics is as a form of understanding, like mathematics. What is it really doing? Okay, and it's not doing anything special. It's taking a few of the variables that might be involved in an outcome and recognizing that these variables can be manipulated in certain ways to give you certain knowledge about what will happen. And it's not a model. It's not an explanation of why it happens. It's just a one tiny little mechanism for taking what you know and converting it into, well, it'd be nice to know how likely I am to something or other. And it doesn't tell you anything exact anyway. It just tells you some stupid probability which doesn't really get you out of anything. You know, doesn't solve any real problem. Anyway, wave function collapse and entangled states is all bullshit. Well, why didn't you should have wrote a letter to Dirac and explained that to him. Wave function collapse. Do you mean wave functions aren't bullshit? I mean, is it only the collapse that you think is bullshit, or do you think the fucking wave function is bullshit? Because guess what? That's where the bullshit starts. It starts with the word wave. Because photons aren't fucking waves. And entanglement states is all bullshit. Well, certainly entanglement is way under demonstrated by enough evidence for anyone but the child at heart to believe in it. If I have two cards face down, I already gave examples, and I know only one is red. I flip over, therefore I know exactly what the other one's going to be. That's entanglement, or spooky action at a distance. Well, obviously, clearly it isn't. Yes, so you're just making the right and left hand glove argument, okay, that, if you have gloves going in, you're going to get gloves going out, so it ain't no mystery. And then they claim, well, no, we've proven with our whatever, some douchebag's mathematics, that no, there couldn't be any gloves. Alright, anyway. So I am skeptical about the whole wave function stuff. Well, you say you're skeptical and then you glorify the fucking king of bullshit. And what am I supposed to say, realistically? What am I supposed to say? What was it? What was in the Dirac book that you, again? Why don't you people who want to idolize somebody and tell me that Tesla knew everything? Well, why don't you put some Tesla mush? Why don't you quote some of the brilliant mush? You can't find a single paragraph of the fucker's dumb mush to tell me he's the king of something. It's like, people say like Schopenhauer is the king of morbid philosophy, but frankly, you know, 4 quotes maybe in 5 million pages of bullshit. Jesus. Anyway, so I am skeptical about the whole wave function stuff and how do we explain the wave properties of atoms without a wave function. Okay, so I'm skeptical about the whole wave function stuff. Now, how do we explain the wave properties? Well, they're not properties of a wave. They're properties of a frequency, as I've pointed out 5 million times. And the simplest way to understand what frequencies do is to understand that they constructively and destructively interfere, as I've already pointed out. You can hit a pendulum when it's swinging down, right? Oh, and you stopped it from moving. Or you can hit it while it's swinging up, and then you can add more energy to the pendulum. Now, is that too hard for you to fucking understand? That's the wave function, shithead, okay, in a lot of cases. It just has to do with adding or subtracting energy based on frequency of the impact. So it has nothing to do with a wave. It has everything to do with frequency. Frequency, frequency, frequency. And the same is true with the fucking slit experiment. It has to do with how much energy you hit an electron with. The more energy, that is, the quicker you hit it, or I shouldn't even say more energy, I should just say as a time function, the more energy in a moment of time you impose on the electron, the more momentum you give it, and therefore it'll travel a different path, okay, coming back to its location than it would if you gave it less energy in less energy in a greater amount of time. That's it. And it just has to do with a mechanical function. It doesn't need any wave. Let's start from the beginning. Oh, I've done that already, okay? I've been doing this for a long time. I have to personally, again, so I have to personally tutor to you. I mean, it's okay. I mean, all you have is this argument. But I mean, if you watch my subject videos, this will get covered, or the overview videos, or some category of those videos, and most of these subjects are covered. Let's start from the beginning. Light is a wave. Fuck you. As described by Maxwell's equations. There's no wave in Maxwell's equation. There's a sine theta. Theta is a fucking angle. There's a change in the angle. A change in how the electron travels. The electron moves, and it doesn't move straight because it's in pressure, so it bends in its path, and then it goes back. And when it goes back, it's releasing the photon from a different position than the position it was in. So it moves one way when you put your momentum in. That movement is transposed with more movement, changing its position, and then it shoots. Just like the moon, if you put a laser beam on the backside of the moon, and the moon's moving in an orbit because it's getting accelerated towards the Earth, it's combining momentums. So you can sort of argue that the moon doesn't travel a straight line anymore. Okay, it travels a lot of little straight lines, but let's not get into that. The laser moves. It changes its angle. And so if I have a specific amount of time, because I'm hitting something a specific rate, okay, then you could sort of understand that the moon would have certain positions that it would prefer. And it would end up shooting the laser at those certain positions more than it would shoot the laser at other positions. So, a perfectly rational theory can be developed. You just don't have any interest in even thinking about it, and you have this assumption that these douchebags who seemed completely focused on nonsense and bullshit and woo had any interest in thinking about it in any other way. They didn't want the right answer. They didn't like where physics was pointing, and they deliberately bent it somewhere else. And you fell for it completely. Okay, not just a little bit. Shit. All right. So here we go again. Okay. So it has nothing to do with Maxwell's equations. There is no wave in Maxwell's equations. There's an assumption. They put something in the formula, and the assumption is, oh, you're going to understand that you have to do some Pythagorean wave mechanical bullshit to get the right answer. There's no wave explicitly in the equation. There's just the theta, the angle, that you can get through reason, or you can get through this irrational wave mechanic bullshit. Yes, the two things have the same mathematics. That's unfortunate. And as I've pointed out in the radar experiment, it's made so clear there that exactly the same geometry for causing jamming as it is for it being caused by wave interference. It's exactly the same mathematics, the same geometry, the same. You do go through exactly the same process to come up with both explanations, and that's just unfortunate. That yes, they happen to have the same geometry, but it doesn't have anything to do with I mean, that you have to understand, and now you have to understand how you could be fooled because it's exactly the same geometry. But what you shouldn't be fooled by is you should realize that in a single slit, light doesn't behave like water, and in a multi-slit, light doesn't behave like water, and in the double slit, it doesn't really behave like water because in the light, there's two patterns. Those little things should just give it away to you that maybe you have the wrong fucking answer. That yeah, you've chosen the wrong geometric model. All right. Where was I? Okay, waves, electric field are oscillating. What the hell? How did I get there? Let's start from the beginning. Light is a wave. Okay, Maxwell's equations. It's a wave where the electric and magnetic fields are oscillating. See, so you're saying rhetoric that doesn't mean anything. There's no evidence that there's any such thing as an electric field or a magnetic field. There's only evidence that there's a force. All right, and you haven't identified any element of it. It's all a grand mystery to your authorities. So that should give you a little bit of a clue again that maybe they don't know what the fuck they're talking about because they don't have any evidence of these fields even existing as anything, as like a field, like some kind of thing that's waiting for you to do something. Okay, no, it's a bunch of soldiers. You either send soldiers or there's no soldiers. Shit. Okay, it's a wave where the electric and magnetic fields are oscillating. So just more, no, there's no obligation for them to oscillate. They can oscillate, okay, in the sense that you can send it at a frequency, and frequency will make things change. So that's right, you can alternate the current. You can play games that impose frequency, but the function still exists even when there isn't a frequency. And again, we know that the reason why the frequency is applied is merely because we understand that these are conductors, and you have to have an interaction that takes place where the conductor can't conduct everything back to a neutral. It doesn't have enough time to do that, and that's how you can manipulate this mechanism and cause it to stay in one state longer than it would if it was, if you just try to pump all the energy to one end. You kind of understand that if you don't have a closed pipe, pipes aren't connected, you can't make the water flow in the pipes, right? You can't circulate the water if I clog the pipe or I break the pipe open. Anyway, let's see. However, it has also been shown that they have corpuscular properties. So again, what is overtly obvious is they have ray properties. So again, you're committing the category error, the error that everybody's done for so long, and just eliminating the word ray from vocabulary. And that's really the way to understand it, is that it's rays of force. That's what's been demonstrated, that there's rays, not corpuscular. More proven than that is that it comes in the form of rays of corpuscular. Individual quanta of energy. So again, this is, see, I mean, yes, that piece of evidence is on my side, but just like all the other physics, they screwed up that proof too. Because that proof is more based on the fact that we can only measure certain size or clumps of things. And so we assume that everything else doesn't exist. And that's a real problem. So because our detector, the electron requires a clump, we've decided that it must come in clumps. And that's a little bit of a stretch. That it only comes in clumps. That you have a plankness to it. Well, you might not. Okay, it's just a fact. And there might be lots of stuff that still exists, but it doesn't cause electrons to behave the way we need them to for us to say, there's evidence, a footprint. So you only get footprints if certain things happen. It doesn't mean that a whole bunch of other stuff doesn't happen. It just means to have footprints, certain amount of pressure has to be imposed. All right. The photon. See photoelectric effect. I mean, just fuck you. So who are you talking to? You're talking to the people in my comments section, or you're talking to me? Right? You think I need to go see the photoelectric effect, fuckhead? No, I really don't. You seem to want to, fuck you again, make a particle theory. Yeah, duh. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I see no use for any other way to transfer energy. Little magic sparky thing. Tinkerbells. Gremlins. Let's throw gremlins to each other. Let's, there is nothing else. There's a universe. It contains two things. Nothing and little bits of something. That's it. And the somethings aren't sparky little magic elves. Fuck. Anyway, particle theory of everything, but how can that be? Well, I've only been spending all of this time making these videos explaining how it can be, over and over and over and over again. Fuck. Alright, are Maxwell's equations wrong? Well, no, you're just misunderstanding them because you think they say wave somewhere, and they don't. You think they oblige there to be something any more complicated than an angle. And that's what's in the equation. A fucking angle. A change in direction. Maxwell's equations don't explain why there's a change in direction. There's no equation for the change in direction. It's just assumed that there will be a change in direction, and the cause is left to you to understand. How do you account for the wave nature of light? So here we go again. There is none. I don't have to account for it because there's no evidence of it. There's absolutely zero evidence that a wave comes off the sun and hits me. There's all kinds of evidence that a discrete, tiny little ray of something hits me. Fuck. The wave nature. Yeah, there is none. If light has wave and particle properties, so again, it doesn't. You want to just keep pretending the same thing has two fundamentally different properties. Okay, that's an abuse of vocabulary. The fact that you can't get that the first question is it a wave or is it a ray? Okay, first answer that question. And once you've answered that one right, it's a ray. Well, then you can figure out, well, what's a ray going to be made out of, realistically, if it has a frequency? Oh, it's going to be made out of, here's a clump, here's a clump, here's a clump, here's a clump. Duh. So a photon isn't a photon. It's not a one thing. I mean, like I said, they've already figured this shit out in the sense that they're already admitting that your eye needs to be hit by 6 quanta, 6 clumps of something. What, clumps of wave? Sorry, that doesn't make any sense. 6 clumps of wave? Shit. How do you account for the wave nature of light? Okay, if light has wave and particle properties, then why wouldn't matter have them as well? Well, again, it doesn't. So, and if you can't tell the difference between the thing moving the speed of light, forces, and big giant material things made out of electrons and protons, So you're basically saying, well, whatever properties the thing going the speed of light has, we must have those same properties. Why would that be intuitive or reasonable? Why isn't, I mean, I could probably find something in common between a brick and a bucket of Jello. Does that mean Jello should behave like bricks? How do you explain the devil, the double slit experiments? Yeah, I've already been over them. First off, there's nothing to explain because you people can't even see the obvious, which is it's completely different. I mean, waves go up and down, there's a whole bunch of action. 0 to 60 miles an hour in one place, and then no movement in the other place. And then 0 to 60 miles an hour in the other place. On and off in the same place. So, I mean, water waves aren't even doing anything close to similar. In the sense that clearly in photons, all the photons go to one place and no photons go to the other place. That's clearly what's happening. There's no, on, off in the on position. It's not even the same kind of mechanical system. And then I'll point out how there's, in photons, there's no graduation in the on-off like there should be. The mathematics says it should be gradually on and off. So the photon pattern should look just like the electron pattern. And the two patterns don't look alike. The electron pattern looks the way the math says it should look. And the photon pattern doesn't look anything like that. Then you have the two patterns superimposed on each other, which isn't water-like or wave-like at all, isn't explained by wave interference. You have to create a whole fake mathematics to make it even reasonable to even accept its existence, but you won't do it with the wave equation. The wave equation won't tell you there's going to be two patterns superimposed in the double slit experiment, so it doesn't even match. Then I've pointed out how there's no frickin' theory that matches in the single slit. There's no explanation for why the photon breaks in two. Zero explanation. And if you have some explanation for why it breaks in two in the single slit, then you have to explain why it doesn't break into four in the double slit. And then the triple slit, in the multi-slit experiment, you end up with images at the different locations. You can't make images out of randomness. You can't project an image by randomizing photons. You have no hope of doing that. And your theory randomizes. It just says a photon, doesn't matter how close it goes to the slit, doesn't matter where it goes, it always does this angle-y thing. So you have no mechanical system, so you just assume it's a property of every single photon, no matter where it goes through the slits. That it doesn't matter whether it goes right by the edge or it goes right straight through the middle of the slit. Your theory is nonsense. So what is there to explain? Oh, that's right, nothing. Alright, why wouldn't matter as well? Why can't matter act wave-like? Well, you already did that, but that's just too stupid. How do you explain the double slit experiments? So I've already done that in a ton of videos. You might have answered this, yes, in other videos. Yes, I have. No, I'm not going to link you to them. I'll tell you there's playlists, and you can find them that way. And you can also just put the word slit into a search and probably find it that way. DraftScience slit, probably get them that way. But fuck this. Yeah, thank you. I'll give you my thoughts. Well, that's fine, but your thoughts aren't your thoughts, right? They're what you've been told, and you're just going to gurgitate it to me from your authorities, and that's exactly what you've done, right? You said, I have to go read this butthole called Dirac to find out the truth. Essentially a religious kook. No, I don't. But anyway. So the other guy, some other guy says, Florio Classier, whatever that is. Dirac said that God must exist if life existing is statistically unlikely. Well, that's hilarious, right? Because what does statistically unlikely mean? Trillion to one? Gazillion to one? And even if it was a gazillion to one, why does God have to exist? We can win the gazillion to one lottery. The simple arguments are, yes, of course, the lottery winner says, gee, that was so easy. I paid my $1, got my ticket, and I won. And it didn't take, man, you people suck at doing this because, man, it was really easy for me to win. The winner's always going to have a diluted perception of how difficult the thing is they won. So, I mean, how are we going to know whether we won a 50-50? Let's say we win the life lottery. Sitting here after we're winners, How do we know whether the ticket was 1 billion to 1, 1 trillion to 1, 1 gazillion to 1, or 50-50? How are we going to know the difference? Just looking at it. We're not going to know. So obviously Dirac was an imbecile just for saying something that's stupid. Fuck. Do you include that in his physics theory? Yeah, well, you can't include every piece of bullshit somebody says and say, okay, I'm going to say all thought process was broken. But I'm saying, yeah, but clearly people who still have the affliction of some God bothering can't be trusted. All right. Next. So are the force bits different from the matter bits? I mean, really, there's just no point in attempting communication, is there? Just no point at all. I have over 1,000 videos. You don't want to pay any attention to the context of whatever video you're watching. You assume that every video covers every subject in the physics realm, and that it's all game. I can just come on any video and say anything about any subject because every video is about every single subject possible. Yes, they are different. They have fundamentally different properties. That's why we can identify a force bit and a matter bit. It's because they're fundamentally different. Are the matter bits made up of force bits? Quite possibly so. Yes, it's a possibility. They certainly contain their momentum. They've certainly captured the history. They capture them in traps. The whole theory is based on this idea that you're trapping something moving the speed of light. It's caught in a cul-de-sac. You've trapped it. It's going back and forth, or it's doing something trappy. And so it's not getting where it was going. And by not going where it was supposed to go, there's an imbalance over there now. Now there's more stuff coming from the other side. And so that thing's going to end up having to absorb more stuff going this way than this way. But see, they're all catching birds. All the electrons are saying, I want to catch a bird, I want to catch a bird. So they're just trying to catch birds. And if there's more birds going this way than this way, they catch more birds going this way than that way. That's the way it works. So whatever the birds are doing, the electrons will reflect it because their cages are full of birds. I'm just inventing this analogy, but okay, it works. And so they're sitting there in their house at night, and their house at night basically says, what have I caught today? What happened to me today? Oh yeah, a bunch of birds went this way, but not too many went this way. So my house is full of birds going this way. And guess what? My whole fucking house is moving a little bit because it's got a bunch of birds flying this way in it. So the matter bits move really slow. They take what comes in, they blend it with all the other stuff they have in their house, okay, and then the whole house moves a little bit based on what they caught today. And by today, I'm meaning every billionth or trillionth of a second. All right. Are the matter bits made up of force bits? Yes, possibly, yes. I'm still not sure if you're talking about the same thing when you talk about matter bits versus force bits. Well, I just don't know how you could make that mistake, frankly. I mean, how the fuck? Why would I call them force bits and matter bits if I was saying they're the same exact thing? I mean, I've drawn it so many times. I've explained it so many times. I don't understand. Well, then you can't understand. You can't have the conversation. Sorry, just fuck off. It's just way over your fucking head. You can't do 2 + 2 physics. Sorry. You have to go find somebody else to listen to. I don't know how any physics channel could be dumb enough for you, because frankly, this is just fucking retarded. I mean, the boat analogy, all the analogies I've given, and you still can't get it? Fuck! Oh, another retard. Robert Ritchie. Gary, how is it possible that you do not believe that positrons exist? Well, because there's no evidence. How about that? Is that special enough? All they have as evidence is that there's a positively charged particle that's moving too fast, because they've made assumptions about how fast protons can move. So I would argue there's something called a proton, and you can move protons fast. But anyway, irregardless, there's no role for it to play in an atom. So you want to show me what the positrons do in atoms? You want to show me how they make atoms work? Now, I might even accept that you could say that protons could be broken, okay, into positrons. That is, you could, take a big proton and you could break it into a positron. That might work. But they think it breaks into quarks, so it doesn't work. But anyway, so I'm just saying we have a model. They have a model of the atom. I have a model of the atom. There's just no room for some sort of extra positive thing that's just as powerful as an electron. So if you threw a positive thing in here somewhere, or over here somewhere, it would have as powerful an influence on electrodynamics as the electron has. Electrons are tiny by comparison to the nucleus, right? I mean, let's understand this thing. And yet we know that electrons, man, they're doing a lot of interesting things. I mean, you hit them with a little bit of a frequency and you cause all kinds of effects. Where's the positron role in the atom? How do you make it make any sense? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So why are you bothering with it? Okay, and what's the evidence? The evidence is they have a cloud. They have a cosmic type ray, goes into a 1/4 inch of lead, and the thing, it moves this arc instead of moving this arc. Okay, so there. That's it must be a positron, because this is what the proton would do, and look, this thing did this. Well, it's the other way around. The positron's doing this, and the proton was doing that. But anyway, that's all they got for evidence. It's not a huge, big, giant pile of evidence. Okay, there are many machines that use positron-electron mutual annihilation. Where? So this is more bullshit, right? Because they call something a positronic magic machine. Okay, where's the magic, right? How is it? How do you know that that's what it really is doing, right? You don't know that. They're all based on the same premise, okay? So one being the PET scanner, right? So all of these scanners do a certain thing. They usually require that first you ingest some sort of radioactive isotope of some kind, and so it's inside of you. And then they hit it with energy, okay, in different forms. But these can be just, some kind of beam of radiation to stimulate these things to decay and create decay products that cause other things to happen, like the minerals. See, they could put some kind of fluorescent compound inside of you, fluorescent compound. And then, so when this thing decays, it hits the fluorescent compound, that creates photons that come out, or that can create some other kind of, like if they're looking for a mineral or something, they could even detect a radio wave or some other kind of photon emission. But this is where they say the positron, it's a positron that came out of this and it went into that and it did this and it did this and it did this and it did this, and then they have 5 million calculations about all the bullshit that happened inside of here in less than a trillionth of a second. All of this crap happened here. Now, you're saying it's okay. They call this a positron, blah, 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 when there's no positrons going in. You don't drink any positrons. There's no positrons anywhere in here, except theoretically there's positrons in there. There's no evidence of a positron. You won't see a positron. None of it will be any part of anything but their theory of how it works. So again, it's like you finding the wave in the double slit experiment or some other bullshit. They say there's one. There's no evidence that there's one. There's no evidence of the wavicle in the double slit experiment, that any photon ever in its existence ever split in half and became a wave function. That's something they've made up. Okay, there's no hard evidence that it exists. So yeah, until you show me, I'm saying fuck you. This thing doesn't have any value to understanding physics. Inventing positrons does not make physics work better. It just creates some kind of left wheel, some kind of third wheel that doesn't have any fucking use. Okay, one being PET scanner, positron emission tomographically, for example. Yes, how exactly? So do you understand any of that stuff? Are you some sort of fucking expert? No. So you're just gurgitating their bullshit and telling me I should be fucking impressed. Sorry, unimpressed. Get a real argument. I mean, fuck, you're gonna argue their assumptions about these convoluted experiments. You might as well just recite their rote about entanglement then. Why don't you just tell me all about all the entanglement proof? You know, about the fact that they, well, yes, we saw the same photon. We gave birth to it over here, and it had, you know, a little bit of brown hair. You know, of course, it had a micro penis, which was just born. And then it flew over here, and we caught the same little photon over here when he was 6 years old. Yeah, they have all, they state and claim all kinds of crap. Do you really think LIGO is measuring half the width of a proton? Do you really think so? Shit for brain. Alright. No opposition here. So this is on the sound video, which, you know, I think just should have rocked your world, frankly. I mean, I've just, I've just broken a whole bunch of your stupid delusions about how mediums even work. No opposition here, just some additions. When the water from my tap hits the sink tub, I have an easy time imagining miniature sonic booms. Yes, well, I have an easy time recognizing that as the molecules break into pieces, they move. The big giant one hits at a certain momentum, and little tiny ones fly off, and the little ones are going much faster than the big one. Yeah, that's how I can imagine it. It's annoyingly loud sometimes. As for the scatter, I visually think of branching lightnings. Yeah. Thunder is a more diluted. The thunder, I think, is in the initiation of the lightning, but I don't want to get into an argument about that. But obviously, it has to do with all those little, you know, when you're making all of those ions, the atoms themselves are jiggling very fast, and very fast moving atoms jiggle other atoms, and yes, so yes, good. Yes, strength-wise, more diluted phenomenon. Diluted, I think, is the wrong word to use. I should have probably, see, do I have water here somewhere? Yeah. I mean, I could have, I can always say things better, so I mean, you know, I can always improve an explanation. But you know, I use the word tension to describe the relationship between electrons and their, and electrons, basically, you know. And so this kind of goes through the slit experiment in the sense that why is the pattern different in electrons than it is in photons? And as I've tried to point out, it's different because when you hit an electron with an electron, the electron is really going to bounce off the force, okay, the radiation. So they're both radiating. They're both radiating a force. And obviously, you know, Gaussian math or whatever will tell you that, yes, these how many lines you're intersecting is proportional to the force. But it's, as I've pointed out, it's sort of a speed equation. You know, the faster you move into this force, the less of the force you might feel. And so, but certainly when you get very, very close, you're going to feel it, okay? So what's basically happening is electrons push into each other, and the fact is that it has a specific momentum. So when something moves, it's moving in a specific direction. And what's going to really happen is the pressure is going to build up because of the quickness of the movement. It's going to get to this high pressure very quickly. Okay, it's going to get into the high pressure very quickly, and so then there's going to be that pressure is going to be pushing both objects away from each other, and it's sort of like they're bouncing off a cushion. So now this thing's going to tend to roll on that pressure. It can't go into the high pressure, and this can't move fast enough out of the way. So it's going to roll, and this is going to roll in a direction. So electrons are creating a smooth interaction because electrons are not hitting each other. They're not bouncing off each other and sending the momentum straight. They're rolling off each other's pressure. Well, I drew that line wrong. And so that's what you have to, that's the difference. Okay, so if you want to send this energy straight, you need to need to go into this pressure gradually enough where this energy, this object has time to accelerate. It needs time to accelerate. And that's kind of the key to the thing. So if the momentum's moving slow enough, if you finally slow these reactions, these interactions down enough, you slow them down enough, then they go straight. But if they're too fast, then they scatter. And as I pointed out, the scatter spreads the amount of atoms involved, and by making more atoms involved in the moving process, you create enough volume for you to hear the sound. Alright, anyway. Let's see. Yes, strength-wise more diluted phenomenon. Lacking the strength to curve distinct paths, to force a direction change. The point is the electron, like us, has to be accelerated gradually to be accelerated in one piece almost, right? So you can't accelerate us too fast or we smush. The water all squeezes out. So the electron has a limited capacity to move out of the way or to move. And if you try to move it faster than that, you're going to build up intense amounts of pressure, and it's going to be forced to go in other directions. Alright. The collection of finer movements distributes the scatter. The collection of finer movements distributes the scatter. So what you're doing is building up the pressure, and as you build up the pressure, you cause more scatter. So the pressure, too much pressure, scatter. The right amount of pressure, no scatter. So it's like a pipe, right? If you block the pipe, the pressure builds up, the pipe breaks in the sides because you're increasing the pressure on the sides of the pipe. So if there's a place for the pressure to go, it goes. If you stop the pressure from being able to go that direction, it has to go in other directions. All right. Let's see. Movement. The collection of finer movements distributes the scatter over an even fuzzier volume, a larger volume, creating a more even displacement over greater distance. Well, the point is you need to have more volume carrying the signal. It's like if examples might be just like a pin prick. You could put all the energy into a pin prick and it'll make a little tiny hole. But if I spread the energy over a whole surface, then I can bend the surface. So we're talking about eardrums moving, and you can't do that with little rays hitting, like a laser beam shooting into the eardrum just burns a hole through it, so to speak. You need to spread the light across more of the surface for there to be involvement of all the atoms. So you're committing the same error. If you have all the energy focused on one atom, that one atom will do a lot of shit, but it won't be able to spread that momentum across enough of the surface to create the movement that you need for you to register its existence. It's a way of putting it. All right. The more displacement action scatters towards randomness. So again, I don't think the there's ever such a thing as a random event anyway. But yes, using the word randomness or random-like. But I would probably argue that the scatter is going to tend to go in the same direction. So the pressure, you're putting pressure in and you're getting scatter out, but the scatter is going to tend to still be in this direction. I mean, it's still going to have components in this direction. So this one scatters this way. The next one could scatter right back up this way. And that one can scatter right back down this way. So you're still going to tend to be pushing the pressure in a direction. So it's not going to be purely random, like, oh yeah, there's just as much stuff going this way and this way and this way. There's still going to be a huge bias in the direction of the initial pressure. The more the created phenomenon results in a spherical spread, if the medium confines allow it. So yes, it's only going to become those spherical things, though, if it's in mediums. Like water is a good giveaway because of the whole fact of the tension it creates between the atoms themselves, the strong tension. So they'll bend as a group, and you'll end up with spherical waves. But I would argue that that's not going to really happen in other mediums, and that the sound really is quite blotchy. Proximity in the tension web that is a medium, I don't know if that's a great word, being the key factor for the transmission of what wants to be a ray movement into essentially its opposite, least efficient propagation, a sphere. So I don't know exactly what to make out of that, but yeah, I'd argue that the sphere thing is sort of you got to be careful with that, because again, the transmitting frequency, the carrier frequency. So it's really like when you're hearing something, you're hearing sonic booms at a frequency. Okay, so let's understand that there's still a whole bunch of frequencies that are dumped in because of the fact that once you cause the scatter, you're creating all kinds of movement and all kinds of reflections. And so the frequency is very high. There's lots of frequencies in the boom carrier. Alright, so the keys are tension web, I don't know if I'd use that word, and source proximity. I don't know if I'd do that either. As the transmission propagation method comes out very dirty in all directions, a lot of back and forth, a lot of reflections, as opposed to clean pool ball like transmission. Well, that's the whole point. The pool ball is squeezed because it can't go. You hit it and it can't move because there's a barrier, and so it spreads over that barrier and hits a bunch of other balls that can share the momentum. So whatever momentum goes in, still coming out, but it's coming out in a form that will be more conducive to creating to being able to convey that momentum across the medium. The medium will treat it much nicer. If it doesn't create scatter, it'll tend to push it in the direction you want it to go. Sound tends, to move in the direction that it's from its source. I mean, it tends to cone, right? So it just depends on the medium, as stated, how much it cones. All right. Well, at least people are typing stuff, so they're trying to make an argument, I guess, but you're not even touching any of the facts. Disagree that an object has to be moving or create movement. Well, it obviously has to move. If you can't even understand that simple part of it, to create sound, I mean, you're really not even close. Or create movement that is faster than the speed of sound to create sound. Well, disagreeing doesn't mean anything. You have to show me, give me an example and I'll explain it to you, right? Even though I really hate this shit. It's just look, it's just like the push-pull argument. You can say there's pulls somewhere, but there really aren't. I mean, even when I'm creating a vacuum, I mean, the outside world's clearly pushing in, okay? That's the thing I'm working with here. I'm not, you know, it's the external force is what's happening. I'm not pulling anything. And when I'm pulling something, what am I doing? Right? I'm really attaching to it. I have to attach to it electronically. You know, I mean, it has to be a static charge for me to pull atoms out. I have to put atoms in and then pull them out. I have to pull one atom and hope it pulls all the other atoms out with it. You know, there's no pull when I'm making a vacuum. I'm not pulling vacuum out and then having everything fly out through because I made the vacuum move. I'm not making nothing move. I have to make some things move and hope that when the sum of them move, they push the other ones out too. But they'll be pushed out. Let's see. All sorts of examples can be thought of where subatomic, subsonic movement creates audible sound. So go ahead and give me the examples, because there aren't any. Sorry. You can think there's all sorts of examples, but I've thought about it. There really aren't. Everything has little hairs on it. Everything has little surfaces, and there's every reason to believe it's like a playing card on a bicycle spoke, you know, or something. I mean, everything is flipping off of surfaces. If you think of the real mechanics, the little crystals, lots of little things are moving, and they're moving very fast, but they're very, very small. Sound is nothing but a perturbation of air. So whatever that even means. So again, you don't even want to do anything close to physics, right? I mean, the conversation is what's your perturbation in air mean? I mean, it has to be made out of atoms, and the atoms have to be made out of electrons and protons. So if you don't want to play by any of the rational rules, then you're saying nothing. Perturbation doesn't mean anything. The things have to move. Pieces of shit have to move. It's movement. The atoms fucking move. The electrons and the protons have to move. A modulation, that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't have to be supersonic. So you're just making claims. You're not going to back it up with anything called evidence. Why can't an object fly through the air faster than the speed of sound? Who said it couldn't? It's just idiotic. Why can't an object fly through the air faster than the speed of sound? I pointed out right in the video that the whole point is things are moving faster than the speed of sound. Material objects are moving fast. And when they're moving fast, they're moving the other atoms around them fast. And that's the problem. Oh, God, you're an idiot. Because matter is not a perturbation of the medium. So he doesn't think material objects create sound. So it's like the tip of the whip, right? That's kind of the classic example, that people sort of understand that the whip sound, the snap, is because you've coiled the whip and now you're going to move the tip of the whip faster. So it's going to go supersonic. It's going to move faster, all right, than the speed of sound. And that's what's going to create the little sonic boom that is the crack. A perturbation of the medium, okay, because matter is not. Of course it is. So what kind of idiot is this? Well, he calls himself Edge, spelled crookedly. It is not bound to the medium as a wave is. I don't even know what that could possibly mean. It is therefore only the perturbation of the medium that is limited by the speed within it. You're an idiot. Light is no different than sound. Well, you're really, really, really a big, colossal idiot. Other than the medium through which it travels and the dielectric nature, so just more made-up jargon of the way in which it is created. So more mushy bullshit. Could you draw a picture of your dielectric, please? Light is not a thing, says you, just as sound is not a thing. Well, of course it is made of things. So you're saying empty space is made of whatever, jello. And so what? The jello still has to have something that moves the stuff through it. And again, you'll never explain why there is directionality with your wave in the Jello theory. What's holding the Jello together? Both are perturbations in their medium, and there's no medium in like sand, right? You can't make your little perturbations in a bucket of sand because the sand isn't atomically connected to each other in any way, so it won't carry any of your vibrations. Alright, the speed of light is not the speed limit of anything other than the electromagnetic radiation. They're the same thing, right? The speed of the electromagnetic radiation and the speed of light, it's the same thing, shit for brain. I.e. perturbations within the medium. Matter, objects with mass, are not limited to the speed of light. So you have proof of that somewhere. You've seen something move the speed of light or faster. A material thing. You have evidence of that somewhere. Oh, your ESP, I forgot. Yes, you have special powers. Because they are not perturbations within the medium, so more mush. They're not bound to the medium like a wave. Well, again, you've said the same thing twice now, so what are you, Ken Wheeler's little brother? Little fat brother, no doubt? I doubt the ether exists. You doubt the ether exists? It's completely superfluous and unnecessary, yes, so I don't see any reason to create a bunch of dominoes to knock over when you can just flick the domino. So, yeah, I don't need an ether. Then answer one simple question. Well, I'm sure it won't be written in anything called an English language. How does light pass through water or glass where the... So this is more retarded stuff, like they think it passes through. So the big heavy piece of glass, the light doesn't hit any of the atoms. It just goes through the empty space of the glass. Yeah. No, it's hitting atoms, asshole. Alright, how does light pass through water or glass where the speed slows, but then when it exits the medium, it speeds back up? So that's because you're just really, really stupid, right? You can't have no imagination, no capacity to think for yourself that there would be obvious answers. So you think you defeat people with, jargon and mush that you know there's answers to, right? You know people have an answer. And you just pretend the answer doesn't exist, right? There's no doubt you've heard answers, right? So matter's full of atoms, okay? And so when the light's going through, it's going to hit the atoms now and then. And what are the atoms? The atoms are electrons and protons. And so they're matter bits. They move kind of slowly. So when the momentum is transferred to the electron moves much, much slower, okay, than the photon was moving. And then the electron readmits the photon. And so it goes back to moving the speed of light again, but it's going to hit another atom, and then it'll hit another atom. So the density of the material, how many atoms are in it, are going to decide how fast light gets through, because it'll decide how many times the light gets slowed down. And clearly they're transparent atoms. Okay, that there's only specific kinds of atoms that are transparent, which means whatever frequency comes in, okay, the same frequency comes out, and it comes out consistently. And obviously you can make transparent things into lenses, you can make them opaque-ish, semi-transparent, you can color them, you can do lots of things where you're clearly going to change this blue thing could be changed into a red thing coming out. I mean, there's lots of, or you could make it so it blocks all of the, because there's this certain dirty little bits in here, you can make it so all the blue photons can't get through because they won't be readmitted. Only the red ones will be readmitted. So there's lots of ways you can change what happens here, but clearly the light doesn't slow down. It's interacting. Interacting takes time. This, okay, at the same speed, okay, these two lines, if the object is moving the same speed, well, what do you think? This one's going to get the finish line the same time this one is? If somebody runs twice around the track, they're going to win the race, and the other guy runs once and they're running the same speed? No, obviously, this takes time. It takes time to interact. Simple answer. Nothing speeds back up. There's nothing slowed down, you idiot. You fucking idiot. You're a fucking obnoxious idiot for pretending there isn't a perfectly reasonable response to your perfectly inane question. When there is, and you've no doubt heard it before, you're just a truther. You're obnoxious to the truth. You don't want to hear it, so you pretend it doesn't exist. Oh, God. Anyway. Where the hell were we? Okay. So, yeah, speed back up. So that's Ken Wheeler rhetoric. If light were a mainstream science teaches, so again, I'm not arguing mainstream science, you idiot. It's not a wave. Mainstream science is on your side, you dumb fuck. You're so fucking stupid, you don't even know that they're on your side. What do you think Einstein's bent space is? Isn't that the concession that there's an ether? And then when they start talking about these magical fields, the electromagnetic field, aren't they basically telling you, ether, ether, ether? They're on your side, you stupid fuck. They're idiots like you. When mainstream science teaches, then conservation of energy would prohibit its acceleration. So just more lies. So you just can't help it being a liar. You can't make a rational, reasonable argument. All you can do is just propagandize and lie. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, you're badly paraphrasing what regular science says. So what excuse is there for that? Isn't that just cheating? So you're just a cheater. You can't take on their real argument. You have to change it into something silly. Yet those who understand propagation through a medium will intuit, oh, well, fuck you for doing that. That's not physics is harder work than intuition. That the wave is simply moving at the rate of propagation of the medium through which it passes. So again, this idea that the medium through which it passes is some kind of amorphous whatever mush. We already have theory, and pretty good theory, regarding the existence of what matter is and what it's made out of and the little bits. And you're not accounting for their existence at all. You're not accounting for their function at all. This single fact negates nearly all modern mainstream science. So just a bold claim. Oh, I've defeated them by misparaphrasing them. No, you really haven't. The Michelson-Morley experiment and subsequent discussions by people like Einstein to deny the existence of ether. So again, Einstein even said it. He said bent space is pretty much an ether. He said those words, you fucking idiot. Oh, set humanity back centuries. So it set humanity back centuries for Einstein to basically say bent space is an ether. There's really he said it. And so you idiots are even too stupid to even know what Einstein said. You just don't give a fuck about the facts, do you? You really just couldn't care less. You're just religious kooks. End of the conversation. In our scientific understanding and advancement. So centuries. Einstein kept us back centuries, and yet he's only been dead for like 70 years. How is it possible that he kept us back centuries? Oh yeah, that doesn't make any mathematical sense. So you can't do any math either. Like the fact you're thinking and sharing. Like the fact that you're thinking and sharing. Thank you. Fuck you. You're sharing propaganda. You're a liar. You can't make an honest argument. You're strawmanning the opposition, quite obviously, with nonsense. You're strawmanning me with your presumptions about what I know and what I'm saying. So, fuck you. I hate the fact that you're a propagandist religious kook. Fuck you. Alright, looks like I've done my... See, YouTube keeps doing this crap. I don't want the filter. It keeps putting the filter on. I refresh the page, puts the filter back on. So annoying. Fuck you. Alright, so nothing new. Check the subscriptions, and then I guess we'll call it a video. Disappointing as always, commenter. Sorry. Ugh, Animal slaughter. Oh, that's no good. Oh, they're going to cut the head off a little ducky. He's having a perfectly good day, thinking about, oh, I'm going to have some graham crackers for mid-lunch snack. Probably thinking about that. Nope. But at least it's quick. Anyway, till the next time and such, so forth and whatnot.